Let's get on with our first recommendation of shows that we think you'll like if you like The Office. Created by Greg Daniels, who masterminded The Office USA along with Michael Schur, this is another workplace comedy that revolves around a fairly incompetent but hard to dislike group of people. Sound familiar? Based in the Parks and Recreation Department of the fictional town Pawnee, Indiana, this political satire is a well-loved comedy starring Amy Poehler as Leslie Knope. It also features great performances from the likes of Chris Pratt, Rashida Jones, Nick Offerman and Adam Scott, to name but a few. An ensemble comedy you'll want to watch again and again. Apple TV Plus had one of its first major hits in television with Jason Sudeikis as the eternally positive football coach in this feel-good comedy. Although the series is about a football or soccer team, as the American audience will know it, the characterization and storylines will certainly appeal to those who enjoy the antics at Dunder Mifflin. The titular Ted Lasso's charm, however flawed at times, reminds you of elements of Michael Scott, and although everything doesn't always go his way, somehow he seems to have the energy and enthusiasm to always try again. Okay, the next show that's like The Office is, and honestly, you wouldn't guess this if I gave you 3 hours to guess it. Okay, so this may sound like an obvious choice, but if you weren't aware, The Office is based on a British show called, well, The Office, which was created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. And although the British series is much shorter and has different named characters, the initial setup, characters and dynamics of the series are very similar. After the first season, the US version goes off on its own journey, but if you're looking for a program that will make you laugh, make you squirm, and one that you'll certainly recognise if you know The Office USA, then we suggest that you put this show on your list. What happens when you die? It's one of the great questions that humanity has grappled with since the beginning of time, and it's one to which we thought we didn't have an answer until this show came along. There's not much talk of the afterlife in The Office, but there are elements to this quirky, high-concept comedy that will definitely amuse you in a way that doesn't feel too far from Scranton. The series is created by Michael Schur, who worked with Greg Daniels on Parks and Rec and The Office, and therefore brings a certain type of humour to the show. The Good Place, which stars Kirsten Bell as Eleanor, a woman who has died and ended up in the wrong place, manages to blend trademark silliness and farce with philosophical questions and existential ideas. Pretty impressive for a sitcom. It's set a long way from Scranton. This Netflix series stars Steve Carell and was created by the Michael Scott actor alongside the man who adapted The Office for the US, Greg Daniels. Therefore, you can't help but feel there will be some similarities. Carell plays General Mark Naird, a man working within the United States Space Force, a branch of the US military, tasked with getting people on the moon. Although it's in space, this really is a comedy based around a dysfunctional workplace. Now, do you know another show that's like that? This once relatively small Canadian comedy exploded onto the world stage via Netflix in 2020 as one of the big lockdown hits during the COVID pandemic. Written and created by father and son team Eugene and Dan Levy, the brilliantly funny series tells the story of the 4 members of the Rose family, a once extremely wealthy tribe who lose everything and are forced to move to a rural town, which is the only asset they still own. With very strong characters, a great mix of absurd and poignant humour, this has lots of laughs, and there's plenty in this for Dunder Mifflin fans.